That gavel, Sean. Huh?
I'd like to welcome everybody out tonight
no,
to
she's not
our
here.
regular February board meeting on the February 11th at 6 p.m. of Blaine County School District number 61. We have a full quorum present. We have Trustee Schwartle, Trustee Graves, Trustee Baker, and myself. And I'll call this meeting to order. And we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll all join with me, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And seeing as how we postponed this last month, Trustee Schwartle, would you give us the honors of giving the opening statement?
And I know you're going to go into detail later on about the superintendent's search and how that's going, and I look forward to hearing that report. Just as a backdrop to the hot topic in our right now, which is the leadership search and the superintendent search, I decided to do a little research into what experts say makes a good leader. I was looking for the answer to the question, are there certain elements that all or most great leaders share? According to an article titled, What 100 Years of Research Shows About Effective Leadership in Psychology Today, the answer is yes, there are certain elements that all leaders share. Here's a quote from that article that summarizes those qualities. Effective leaders tend to be inspirational, visionary, and serve as positive role models for their followers. The very best leaders also care sincerely about their followers, their well-being, and their personal development. Great leaders also empower followers and encourage them to be creative and to take initiative. I had a chance to go over the results from the community comments about what people are looking for in a leader, and found that many of the respondents agreed with this finding. One quote sums it up. BCSD needs someone with vision, clarity, and inspiration. The other thing that I found when doing my research, which was kind of funny, I don't know if I've got the picture here, was that good leadership can be contagious, and bad leadership can be contagious within an organization. And they even had, according to this, in this article, they even had a picture of a guy sneezing, like he had gotten sick from his, I guess, his boss. But the result of that, and this was a big report in Forbes magazine, the good news was that good leadership is more contagious than bad leadership. Finally, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who took the time to fill out this survey and participate in the focus groups. We've already begun to go over this information in great detail. It will provide the basis and vision for our leadership search.
Appreciate that. All right. Lori, we'll move on to item 4. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to the current agenda?
I have none.
I would like to make a motion to amend the current agenda in order for the board to reconvene a closed executive session following tonight's regular meeting pursuant to Idaho Code 67-23451A to consider hiring a public official, employee, staff member, or individual agent wherein the respective qualities of individuals are to be evaluated in order to fill a particular vacancy or need.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right. With the roll call vote, Trustee Schwartle?
Aye.
Trustee Graves?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Benyon? Aye. Motion carries. The reason we're doing this is we ran out of time prior to this meeting, so we wanted to get the door open for everybody as soon as we could for you. So we'll need to reconvene for that. All right. And before we move on to the accolades, I'd just like to really quickly thank those members of the public who have sent emails through Ms. Kaufman to the board regarding Paul Bates and thanking him for his service. We appreciate those. We had the accolades already set prior to receiving these, so they're not included in the agenda tonight, but we do want to make mention that we did receive them, and we will be including them in the minutes of this meeting through the public comment portion. So those will be available in the minutes. And with that, we'll turn the time over to Superintendent Blackman for the accolades.
All right, there you go. Good news. Jennifer Reardon. Ms. Reardon is the first recipient of this accolade. There once was a girl who wasn't sure of herself. Everyone told her she was great at writing, but she wasn't so sure. Everyone told her she was great at sports, but she wasn't so sure. Then one day, when she was wondering if maybe she wasn't worth anything, she came upon a teacher at her school during her 4th period. She knew this teacher was special, and on her second day with the teacher, she started uncovering herself, hidden beneath all the lies of her old personality. She found out that even though her stories were different, they had personality and showed her voice. And she wondered that just maybe she was discovering an important piece of herself. She found out about figurative language, and she found out that through figurative language, she could show more voice and more and more and more. Soon she had discovered her whole true self, and she loved her whole true self. The teacher changed the future for the girl. The teacher and the kids have convinced the school board to have an advanced language arts class for their regular language arts for years to come. But alas, not that year. One day, the end of the semester was dawning, and since her class with the teacher was only an elective, she wouldn't have her anymore. The girl didn't know how to thank the teacher, for the teacher had changed her life, helped her discover the girl's true self, and she was utterly thankful. So here I am, writing the story, and I hope this was a good enough thank you, because I know that no matter what, I won't be able to say thank you enough, and I bet you have figured out that I am the girl, Emma Madsen, and you are the teacher. But in the story, the girl never called the teacher Miss Reardon. She called her Les Changeurs de Vie, the life changer in French. Thank you. Well, Emma got to me. She writes very well. Lester Wilson and John Thomas, Blaine County School District Maintenance. Before I move on, though, is Miss Reardon here?
No.
She couldn't make it? Oh, bummer. Lester Wilson and John Thomas, Blaine County School District Maintenance Technicians, and Darcy Cordingley, Woodford Middle School Secretary. I would like to recognize Lester Wilson, John Thomas, and Darcy Cordingley for their efficient and effective work under a strict timeline. We had a miscommunication with the company, and our order for banners was canceled. We had hoped to have the banners up in our building prior to our verification visit from the International Baccalaureate Organization on November 11, 2013. With the help of Darcy, she was able to set up the new graphics, order a whole new set of banners, and have them delivered by the end of October. With Howard Royal's support, Lester and John were put on the job of hanging the banners within the very tight timeline. The work was very involved and had to be perfect for the banners to hang properly. Their work was not only very high quality, but they prioritized the job and got it done very quickly. I deeply appreciate their work and focus under the conditions we asked them to perform. Please extend my appreciation to them. Sincerely, Fritz Peters. And I know they did do a heck of a job getting those things up in a very tight timeline. And it was very impressive to the folks that came to visit our school. Allie, you want to say anything on their behalf? I'm kind of shy. Not when I bring donuts to them, but.
I think John can attest. John came over the other day and sat with the maintenance crew for a while, and we had a chance to talk afterwards about what a great group of maintenance people we truly have. Les came from military construction engineering. John's a crane operator, welder, mechanic, and we're really fortunate to have the maintenance crew that we have. There's a lot of diversity. They have a great work ethic. They're creative, and And they're truly dedicated to the district. What Lester didn't tell me when he was putting these banners up is he slipped in on the weekend because he knew that it wasn't going to get done otherwise. So, I appreciate these guys, and I'm glad that I appreciate the opportunity to recognize.
We've got them on camera on the weekend, so.
So, I'd like to thank these guys for everything that they do.
Appreciate that. I appreciate the people taking the time to write the accolades and recognize the valiant staff that we have. I think we can all think back and remember the teachers that inspired us as youth growing up. And then as a maintenance person myself, I understand working under time crunches, and I applaud your efforts. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So with that, we will move forward with the Silver Creek Leadership Report.
I think we can use the mouse for the slides. All right, you baby boomers. When did the Etch and Sketch come out?
63. 63.
Before my time.
63?
What'd you say? 61. 1960 was introduced in Nuremberg, Germany. And then the Ohio Toy Company was there at this big convention, and they took to it. And why the Etch and Sketch? Somebody show me the size of an Etch and Sketch. Is it about this size? Is that a coincidence? Well, I want to share with you tonight, and we'll get back to this. I want to share tonight, not me, I have some other folks in our school that want to share. We want to talk about the impact that the one-to-one initiative has had at our school. And I cannot tell you how huge it is. And we're just scratching the surface. And I'm just now beginning to understand how significant those little machines are. It's incredible. I'll give you a little story here. I taught history for 28 years in the classroom, love history. And, sir, I have your book. I need to get your Civil War book back to you. We shared books. It's sitting on my shelf. That history book, I always have a textbook. Well, what I came to understand was a device, a mobile device, a machine, I can learn a whole lot more history from the machine than a textbook. Why? Because they have more access. And that's what this is all about. So, we want to talk about, share with you just real briefly the impact that the Chromebooks, the one-to-one initiative has had at our school. And I'm telling you, those things are gold. Our kids love it. I cannot overstate that. But I want to start with, here's one of our students. This young man quit going to school. He quit going to school. Walked across the parking lot. We interviewed him, grabbed him, brought him over to Silver Creek. B's, A's and B's. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I want Adam to speak. Before I do, I want Tim to share a word about how the one-to-one came about.
Hi, everybody. I'll be brief this time, I promise. Coming into this year, we're still feeling things out. We're trying BYOD at the high school, and we're trying one-to-one at Cary High School and Silver Creek. I had my guard up a little bit going into Silver Creek. This guy might even tell you, I walked into the school the first day that they got their Chromebooks, and I said, "Good morning, children." And they gave me a bunch of dirty looks. And I said, "Can I call you children?" And they said no, and I said, "Good, because I'm expecting you to act like adults with these things." And so we have a good relationship going, I think, with Silver Creek. I feel really positive about where these guys are at. I'm a big fan of the work that they're doing and of what Adam's going to show you what's going on. So they're one-to-one. I think these guys are kind of a shining star for us. It's a bright spot. And I think they're kind of showing us the rest of the way to go. That being said, I did want to take a quick moment to veer off of Silver Creek for a second to tell you that the kind of progress that Silver Creek has been making with the one-to-one that they've done so far has inspired the high school, and the high school is now looking at going one-to-one next year. I think the important thing to reflect on here is that the Chromebooks are not what is making this change here. I think it's the platform. I think it's Google Apps. The Chromebooks is just a really nice way for us to ensure that we have a baseline of access for everyone who wants to participate. And that's my bit. I promised I'd be brief, so.
Next slide. So just create a little context for Adam and Antonio. Antonio's our student. We'll be sharing tonight. You're going to be amazed at what he's doing. So when the Chromebooks came, what did this mean? Tim introduced me to the Sammer model, and I didn't really comprehend its significance. It's real deep, and it goes back to the etch and sketch. It goes back to the iPad. That's not a coincidence. During World War II and since World War II has led to some incredible advancements. What's probably the most significant advancement that our country has accomplished from a technological standpoint? The iPhone?
Internet?
Uh-huh. And what's the ultimate accomplishment? 1969.
The moon.
Yeah, not the British invasion. The moon. The moon. And there's a whole body of research, that is kind of captured in this simple little model. So this really is a way to measure integration, technological integration in the classroom. And you're going to see this live and in person when Adam gets up here and shares, and then our student Antonio. Okay, so the Sammer model. This is a leveling up, if you will, of integration in the classroom. Okay. They each have a story. It's incredible. Okay, next slide. Okay, the next model I just want to throw out there, and most of you are familiar with this, it's not new, is the Tpac model. And the Tpac model is, this is where it really hits the road for a classroom teacher. Classroom teachers, knowledge, content experts, right? Well, that machine, I have more access to content than from any teacher anywhere. What does that mean for the classroom teacher? In my opinion, there's the rub. That's the struggle. Pedagogy and technological knowledge. So the idea with Tpac is we want teachers to be here, ultimately. Content, pedagogy, methodology, and the use of technology. What does this look like? That's what I want to share with you right now. So if you don't hear anything that I've shared, the Sammer model and the Tpac model. Okay? Now with that, I want Adam to share real quick about what he's doing and how he has integrated technology. The whole idea is access and student engagement. Adam.
Okay. I'm going to need to click on those.
Another mobile device.
No, I need another
Technology,
hand. I got to have my coffee. I can't tell you how happy I am at Silver Creek with what we've been doing and what I've discovered actually this semester and what I can do with these Google Chromebooks and with the students. And so I just wanted to share with you some of the templates and some of the things that I've used that have been really useful for the students. And these are just some of them right here. In terms of Google Calendar, I've developed this questing, which is where Khan Academy is heading now in terms of missions and whatnot. It's using game theory to level students up rather than, the newspaper will whack when they get one wrong. Try to bring all the students up. I use heavily with study guides. I wanted to show you what I get back from the study guides, and then to share with you sharing documents, which is how we actually created this particular presentation. Marco, Mike, me, and Antonio were all sharing this in one presentation, and we all added and subtracted and changed things as we.
And we were not in the same room.
Yeah, and it wasn't at the same time. And,
Right.
So that's one of the most powerful things on this. But one of the things that hit me was this guy. This occurred yesterday in my Google Calendar. I have basically a calendar set up for each of my classes, and I have this calendar shared with the students. Here's like a biology class. You can take different layers off as you go. Students with 2 or 3 classes with me, they get a little confused sometimes when they get all these turned on at once. So I have to do a little helping there. But, you know, for example, this would be the biology class. This shows you what we've done each day. The power of this particular thing occurred yesterday when I had a doctor's appointment. I had a half day, and then our secretary was also sick, and I told her, here's my lesson plans for the sub, but she was absent. I was absent, and no adult around there knew what to do except my students. When they walked in, they immediately got on the calendar and went for it and did everything they were.
But I was ready to wring your neck because I didn't have any lesson plan.
You're like, where are they? Where are they? I'm like, yes, I don't have that kind of. This is basically my lesson plan. So you can see what we've done on a particular day, and every day I update it. What you can do, I can't see very well, but like for example, here's a quiz. You just open these particular things up. It'll come with a link. Now, a student would get a link. I have to go here because this is sort of a dashboard by default because I'm logged on. So in any event, they click on this link, and then it would take them to a quest map. So going back to my presentation here, the quest map is a master document, which basically is a syllabus for the class. I had to get chess in somehow, so here it is. But right here, these are the quests that we are working on, and the students work and pace themselves. If they don't get a quest done, then they return to it on a particular day when we're just working on quests. Others can move forward. Some students have already finished some of this stuff up here when we're actually way back here as a classroom. So what is this? So, like for example, you'd click on this thing, it would show you a link, you'd open it up, and there would be the particular lesson that I want to teach. Okay. So just to show you one, and give you a variety of classes and not just chess. Here's a quest map. Oh, I gave you a quest map. Let me open up a mission map. So the quest maps all lead to the different missions in the lesson at hand. I put together a goal here, and then this tells them what they're supposed to do. Those of you familiar with gaming, I don't use like points. I use XP, which is experience points. So that helps them level up, right? So they can see which mission has the most experience points. The missions and the quests are designed so that they can return to them whenever. We have students in and out, absent, so kids can actually move around at their own pace and their own flow, which is rather nice. So, these are the different lessons, the different labs. This tells them different things that they should do. Some of them are active. They're not passive where you just click on it and then there's a document and it's a worksheet or whatever. So the guides they're actually rather, a little bit more interactive. This is one particular one on antibiotic resistance. Again, going to different links, and the students would click through. They have a progress bar right here, so it's just like Khan Academy and stuff that they're used to with IDLA and Novinet. I embed videos in various lessons depending on the lesson, and then I interact with different ways of asking the different questions, and I don't go on and on and on. Usually it's about 4 or 5 questions. That's all you need in order to find out whether they know the material or not. So the students can respond in each of these things, right? Here's another lesson or another video I had embedded, and then some study guide questions to see if they got the nuts and bolts from the video, right? And then you hit submit. Now the really cool thing about this is I always check you can select what the students can see afterwards, and I always want the students to be able to see what everybody else did. So when they do this is really crazy because the students then go back and they can see their work presented. So this tells you, these are all the students in the class. Antonio, he's here. This is his particular class. They can reflect on that. They can actually see some data on it. Like, look, we're a bacteria. 7 people said prokaryote, 3 eukaryotes. What does that mean in terms of my answer? So then they can actually go back. they can edit their responses, so it kicks them right back, and then they can re-edit their response from analyzing the particular data. The nice thing is these graphs are really amazing. At least some of the kids that have discovered them, you know, the lazy butts don't usually go back. They just want to be done. But I've had a lot of kids actually go back, and it's really interesting to see how they change their responses. And one student asked me, well, isn't that cheating? I'm like, no, that's not cheating. That's learning. That's exactly what I want you to do, is find the right answer, or you just did, so that's good. So trying to actually change what the students are used to in the classroom as well, using all these things. This is a study guide response sheet. This is the way I would get the information back. It gives me a timestamp, their name, and then of course how they responded to these. And then of course I'd go through. I usually use a yellow for answers that are close. This particular guide had more yes and no answers, so it was. In fact, this is a chess one, so it was looking and grading what what the best move was. Was this the best move or not, kind of thing. So it was a nice little exercise there. Now this one right here, I'm going to leave you with this and then turn you over to Antonio. Sharing documents. I've started using this with the students. We do it in our committees, like the science committee and the hate committee and stuff. I get shared documents with Angie Martinez and whatnot. But I've been doing this with my students. This particular document is shared between 2 students and me. And so while these students are working on a lab report, I can add actually comments to help them basically put the lab report together better. I can find errors. I can, and then without me even changing it, if I wanted to, because it's shared with me, I could actually change what's in there real time. The nice thing about the Google Docs platform is that all of the changes that everybody would do on a particular document are actually tracked. So you can go back and see who changed that, and it'll tell you. Here are previous comments, and you go through and you can see what they've already done. They've already taken care of some of my other comments. So sort of a neat thing, I think, and I think very useful. Well, maybe you want to show them what we do in the classroom for notebooks?
Is it a formative assessment? That's what I was looking at. Formative assessment. And Antonio,
Yeah.
share with us real quick just who you are and where you came from and how you got Silver Creek.
My name is Antonio Sanabria. I originally came from New Jersey. Then I moved to Pennsylvania, then obviously here. I'm 15, going to be 16 in about a week. And this is basically what we do in the class. We build a blog, post stuff on it that we do in class. I was taking a picture of the stuff to post on my blog. And, easier, you can study more. And this is my blog. Basically just post everything you do on there and answer questions, flashcards, pictures of everything you do and define it and all that.
And you take the picture with your smartphone.
Yeah.
But some kids use their Chromebooks to actually take pictures of their experiments.
And it's just a really cool thing, with pictures and
What was going on in there, in the oven?
actually this right here is Petri plates inside of a incubator, which is basically like I forget what the Petri plates are.
They're made with the auger, right?
Yeah,
It's,
the auger.
it's a food for bacteria.
And you post your flashcards, like everything you do on here. These are some of the flashcards that I've done. I've obviously done more, but that's just some of them.
I think you hit the back button.
Did I? Okay. This is, you don't have to do these because this antibiotic resistance was basically just flashcards, but I post a picture, just maybe for extra credit or whatever. And the cool thing about this is you could actually comment, like Mr. Porch can comment on my stuff. If you don't like it, you can comment and tell me to change it or just tell me what I need to change.
But this one is cool.
This one, yeah. It's a meteor, like. It's cool. Well, it's just like a meteor exploding, basically, and there's the video of it, so it's true. And
See, there's a comment
where?
there too.
You can
So, yeah, you can actually get comments.
yeah, right there.
Eventually, my plan is to have students actually commenting on each other's work, so that would be nice, rather than just me.
And some more flashcards and pictures. And this whole thing, the background, it doesn't come like that. I had to, make it myself. And there's a lot of stuff you get doing here, actually. It's pretty awesome. So basically, that's just what it is. It's everything we do in class and flashcards and everything about biology.
Excellent.
Great.
Pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, that's
Good
great.
job.
That's amazing. So back to the iPads. There's a gentleman, forgot his name. He wrote a paper in 1973 about what a mobile device would be, the right size for children. It was in that body of research that kind of led to where we are now. 1973. So it's not new. It took a while for the actual hardware, but the idea was there. It's been there for a long time. It's not new. So that's amazing. It's amazing what's going on. It's just transformed what's happening, and he's engaged. It's just so cool. That's it. Anybody have any questions for anybody? Give it up for Silver Creek.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And we will move on to public comment. And as of now, there's been one, Tracy Atwell. And Lori, are there any others? Okay.
I don't have any slides or anything for you.
There's something else that needs to be open.
Not for right now. I can take care of it. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you all for making me feel so welcome tonight. And I was going to begin my public comment by telling you that Paul Bates has been volunteering in the school district ever since his daughter Maddie entered kindergarten. And then a more pressing comment came to my attention. And I was driving home from work yesterday, and I realized that nobody had come up to me yesterday to tell me how upset they were that Paul resigned. Then, about 8 o'clock, Paul's ex-wife, Chris Poole, came over to pick something up for Aaron and told me that she was out to lunch with a client and who didn't even know Paul. And he said how unfortunate he thought it was that someone who gave so much of their energy to an organization would resign under those circumstances. Every single day since Paul resigned, 1, 2, or 3 people have come up to me to either tell me to thank Paul for his service, complain about that he resigned, or let me know how sorry they were that he wouldn't be representing them. Even at the dentist today it happened. I've been trying to let this go, and I think I would have let it go a month ago when it happened if it weren't for those daily reminders that I get from people who are unhappy that he resigned. I've been in the district 26 years, and I've experienced enough boards to say that Paul helped Blaine County School District become a better place to work. He helped to create a board that runs fairly, is transparent, gives its members equal power and an equal voice. He respects the community, and he keeps a bottom line on who matters most in this district, our students. And as a citizen and a teacher, I have to admit that I'm very disappointed with his decision to resign. I would like to leave the moral issues behind because this isn't the place for that debate. However, if there's a silver lining in all this, and I hope that there is, I hope that this brings awareness to our community about the issues facing our youth and our desperate need for solutions here. What I find really difficult about this entire issue is that one group of citizens did not approve of Paul's actions, and Paul chose to resign before he listened to everyone on this matter. Those of us who thought he should not resign over this dispute were not heard from, and an important discussion did not occur. So, if this process could work backwards, a majority of us believe that Paul's choices on New Year's Eve are forgivable and in no way diminish his outstanding work on the school board. Paul believes that by resigning, he acted in the best interest of the school district, and he kept telling me that. And I kept telling him, I don't think resigning was in the best interest of the school district. Many of my colleagues believe that we are the ones losing out here. We are losing someone that we trust. Teachers feel like they're losing someone who has their back. Paul's decision was not in the best interest of the community either. The community is losing someone who asks important questions about hard issues. Paul listens to his constituents. He always returns phone calls, and he's prone to missing dinner. You know, it's like, come on, dinner, dinner. And he's like talking to someone on the phone about whatever issue they find important. The community is also losing the fifth person that makes this board so effective. It doesn't seem right that one group of people can complain and we lose our investment in Paul. When Dr. Barber gave his address to the school district at the beginning of the school year, he relayed a vital message to his employees. He told us that we should invest time building relationships with our students, and that the relationships we create may have a profound effect on the students we serve. He told us that building relationships is important and lasting work. Paul knows this too. Over the past 5 years on the school board, he's built relationships with every single one of you. Think about the relationship that Paul has built with you and how that contributes to the well-being of our district and, most importantly, our students. It's interesting to me that this district has adopted the curriculum that teaches its students to practice the 7 habits of happy children, and we couldn't come up with a win-win on this. I think a win-win would be to put Paul Bates back on the school board. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
comment.
Tracy.
All right. With there being no further public comment, we will move on to the consent agenda. And we have on that, under item A, special emergency meeting of the board, January 17th, 2014. Special meeting of the board, January 20th, 2014. Special emergency meeting of the board, January 21st, 2014. Regular January board meeting, January 21st, 2014. Special meeting work session of the board, January 29th, 2014. Acceptance of monthly financial report, payment of bills. Permission to request proposal for a food management company. And D, consideration of personnel exiting and entering. And Ms. Kaufman, do you have those?
Yes. Under classified staff, recommending for hire, Kelly Martin, administrative assistant in the communications department at the community campus, and Claudia Patlin, weekend custodian at the community campus. Under classified coaching staff, exiting, James Nemechek, assistant varsity track coach at Wood River High School.
All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as read?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to clarify, we're just creating permission to send a request for proposal. We're not approving anything, we're just requesting bids, correct, for the food service?
Correct. Every 5 years, we have to put that back out to a competitive bidding process, and we're just opening up so that process can take place.
Perfect, thank you.
No further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
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 Aye. Nay? Any? Hearing no nays, motion carries. We will move on to the guest presentation. The viability of a district-funded sponsorship of Wood River Middle School baseball and softball programs with Jonah Torseth. And Lars Hovey.
Sure sign of spring, huh?
Here we go. Baseball, here it comes.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm John Torset. This is Lars Hovey. This is now our fourth presentation to the board on the possibility of fully adopting middle school softball and baseball for our spring sports. And this all started in the winter of 2012. We sent out some questions to our constituents, the baseball, softball folks, about what they felt would be a positive step in the right direction for the program. We were seeing a decline in the high school programs with participation numbers with both softball and baseball, and we see this with many of our sports. We don't know why, but so we came up with an idea to approach the board about possible full sponsorship. Precedent has been set. The board did adopt soccer, middle school soccer. We were the first school in the state to have middle school soccer adopted back in the early 90s. And then cross-country running as well in the early 2000s was adopted in the Magic Valley. We were not the first school in the state of Idaho to offer that at the middle school level, but for the Magic Valley we did, and that has just flourished. It's a great program now. And we have some wonderful support from the school district already, but we want full sponsorship. We want this to be a middle school sport. Currently, as it sits, in the spring we offer track and field to 7th and 8th graders. This definitely lends itself well to public schools, good public schools with good choices and good programs, and just seems like a win-win for everybody. And without Lars Hovey, this would not be here. I mean, he has made this thing go since 2012. And with that, I'll let him go through the PowerPoint. And
where'd that come from?
he along with other community members, have been volunteering their time with field maintenance, with coaching, and all of the above to get the softball and baseball thing going. Okay.
Here are some pictures. Last year's team, we had 2 baseball teams, 2 softball teams. It was fairly cold that day. Hard to see the snow specks, but they're there. See Coach Radford fully bundled, and Sarah Benson somewhere under all those layers. Just part of spring sports. Just some of the comments as we did a survey, not after last year, but after 2 years, just to try to get a personal voice to some of this, and how far it's come and how different it was before these programs. Our objectives: develop additional baseball, softball facilities for community members and programs. Thank the board wholeheartedly for letting us develop the baseball and softball fields there. Without those, it wouldn't be viable. If you ask half of the kids and parents in there, they think it is a school sport, and that's kind of the objective. They've allowed us, Mr. Peters allowed us to practice after school, use transportation, activity buses afterwards, so it feels like a school sport, and that's been tremendous. Create additional athletic after-school opportunities for our youth. I think we know how valuable that is as a parent. I'm sure grateful that they have things to do after school in a positive setting. And strengthen the link in our baseball and softball programs. So that has always been the whole, not just here, but everywhere. It's great through Little League, and at 12 years old, they just go elsewhere. And the trend now in, not just here, is to actually get rid of Babe Ruth programs and go right into Legion, because Babe Ruth has been so disappointing in a lot of different areas, and we lose a lot of kids. So all objectives met. Effects after 2 years, the baseball team has reestablished its JV program that they had lost. They actually had 36 players at last month's meeting, which is tremendous. Talking with Coach Martin, softball program, numbers-wise, but he's just noticing the quality of skill that the girls possess when they come in at 9th grade compared to the past. And I think, talking with Mr. Torseth, that having less than a few hundred track people out there has also been positive for.
Yeah, we would see in excess of 100 7th and 8th graders. Great problems to have, but it becomes more of a babysitting service than a coaching environment when you have those types of ratios, and that's not indicative of what Blaine County School District's all about. So it's helped.
Softball, 52 total participants. I counted today, we have 18 returning. Played last year, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls, and 18, I think of the 26 girls are returning, so a good, strong returning base for this year. We go 8 weeks, start right after spring break, go through week 24, 23 home. We had 9 home games last season between the two. All volunteer coaches, and I think that probably the biggest that's coming in this year is the tech guy.
They're cheering for you.
Is that we've played our boys' big group games at the varsity field, and that creates a good connection with that program. A lot of the varsity coaches and players stick around and even umpire, and we kind of see that connection. That hasn't been the case at the softball program, but after discussing it with Coach Martin, that's going to take place this year, where the girls' softball big group games will be played after the practices at the softball field. So I think that's exciting. It's going to be exciting for the girls coming up, coaches as well. Coach Martin, long-winded, but his big promoter. He goes just what else do you want them to do? What would you rather have them do than this? And it's just his whole point with his 2 granddaughters is just beyond the sports and beyond the connection to the varsity programs. It's just invaluable for our youth to have something positive to do after school. I think we all know that. The boys, 61 participants. This is just 7th and 8th grades. The 6th grade stays down at the Blaine County Rec program. It's a 9-week program. 56 games, 23 home games total in 2 years. 6 volunteer coaches a season. Coach Nelson again has seen the decline, especially in numbers, with other options, lacrosse, et cetera, coming in than what it's had. An impact, definite positive impact on the numbers and quality at the baseball. So total 113 total participants, 6th to 8th grade. You can see the coaches involved. Contact hours, basically twice as long as track. So twice as many contact hours in the program. You've seen this before, the experience. So we're trying to do a quality program, and I think we received that. It affected some people that wouldn't have played. Just the convenience of practicing after school, the convenience of transportation provided by the district. It was the deal breaker on a lot of our most at-risk youths. I guess from this perspective, one of my views is they put us at club sports like lacrosse and swimming. That's not where we belong. In my opinion, we are the same as far as the Idaho High School Athletic Association, where we should be in football, wrestling, volleyball, basketball, etc. We support all of our varsity sports at the middle school level, except golf, baseball, softball, and tennis. So we're saying why are we supporting a lot of these varsity sports at the middle school, and not all? And I think if someone came around with the tennis and golf, I think that should be supported as well. So I think my argument on this is if it doesn't open up a can of worms with sports that are not on this list. What would it look like? We are officially our own league. Our Babe Ruth League. Babe Ruth a no-cut organization. Each player must have a certain amount of playing time. And I think as middle school athletic director, I think that would probably adhere to your philosophy.
Yeah, it is the middle school philosophy in our conference, the Magic Valley Athletic Conference, to encourage playing time. It's mandated by the rules of Babe Ruth. When I say encourage playing time, that's sometimes easier said than done in the realm of competitive endeavor. So this is exactly what we're looking for middle school athletics.
All coaches and assistants must pass a background check. And I think what the difference here is stipends for coaching. We would be requesting stipends for coaching, not for the head coaches. The travel, which is already in place, and umpire cost. What we would do as a program was fundraise for uniform cost, equipment cost, helmets, balls, training aids, etc. And this is basically what was proposed when we received varsity baseball and softball back in '92, correct, Mr. Chatterton? And that was the deal that was struck. As far as the helmets, it might be a little more because we were requesting Mr. Blackman to custom paint each one of them. Well, Myra, I don't know what his charge is, but something that's always come up is, what are the other schools going to do? Is this, are we just going to be the lone wolf out here? And I was down at a coaching clinic last week talking with the head baseball coach at Twin Falls, and he goes, you guys have started a fire down here. And just, I guess, a paradigm shift of, there's a better way, and we need to do it a better way and more aligned with what other sports do. So we can see what the Twin Falls Babe Ruth director said. Tim Stoudemire, he goes, we have 3 teams set up at O'Leary. We have 2 teams set up at Stewart. Softball's following suit. We're moving up the season to line with yours. And he goes, we're not quite there as far as going further as the school board, but as far as all the baseball personnel and athletic directors with both schools, we're all collaborating to make this happen. And we're basically simultaneously with the varsity sports. I believe that is it.
Yeah, okay. Just to end it, again, this is our 4th time up here. Obviously, there's a lot of care and compassion and definitely some drive from this man here. And without him, this goes away next year, basically. I mean, because this has been his baby. I mean, we'll try and keep it going as much as possible, but we really want to be at the forefront of everything in public education in the state of Idaho, and here's another opportunity. Again, we were the first to adopt middle school soccer. We play quite a few club teams in our soccer league. The Magic Valley schools are catching up. Cross-country running has just blossomed in the Magic Valley, and we were the first middle school to adopt that. So I see it as a precursor to middle school softball and baseball throughout the Magic Valley, and we can be at the forefront of that. So as we go forward, we hope to be heard at the March meeting as an action item and hear what you all have to say about it. So, any questions?
Is there a cost right now for the kids that are participating?
$75.
So what does that go towards?
Right now, it goes mainly for officiating. They also get cap fire for the girls, T-shirts will do, mock jerseys for the boys this year. We have a fundraising opportunity. So if you're unable to pay the $75, you can make it via the fundraiser this year. We're going to do a marathon game.
So that goes to the umpires and the uniforms?
They sell umpires, their spirit pack, there's balls, just everything it takes to.
And with full sponsorship, kids that need financial assistance will be assisted by the Blaine County Education Foundation. Without school sponsorship, that does not happen.
So we can hear you back.
Sorry.
No, that's
And then, I guess, are there any other schools in the state as of now who have a middle school softball or baseball program?
A year ago, I looked into the Boise School District and Meridian School District, went to all their websites for their middle schools, and there was no middle school baseball or softball offered. I haven't looked within a year.
Okay.
So,
And then just one more follow-up question. You were saying something about the Twin, Kimberly, Canyon Ridge. They're following suit, but what do you mean by, are they moving towards the middle school model? Do you mean that they're just going to start practicing at their schools after school in their club league, like we are?
I think that Babe Ruth has always been a separate entity run by different people, totally disassociated with the varsity program, and now they're kind of seeing that, trying to get it more of a feeder program like the other sports, where it's very hands-on. Talking with Coach Steinway, he wants his assistants down there running practices, at O'Leary doing these things, so it's much more connected. They're just jealous.
Is there any other questions from the board?
Wait, I have one more, but no, I just lost it. Oh, how long is the season?
8 weeks. The girls is 8 weeks, and the boys is 9. If you choose to go to the tournament, which we did. And both our boys actually played in the championship game. They played each other for the championship last year, which was pretty exciting. I think Martin won high.
and our track is a 5-week program. Track program is a 5-week program.
Just really quick, I'm just trying to put the numbers together. So did you say 113 kids in total? Was that up there?
2 years.
Okay, yeah. 100.
No, okay, what's it for 1 year? 1 year is 60 kids though, right? Total with girls and boys?
Yeah, it was combined between the 2 years. The first year we had 3 boys teams. Last year we had 31 boys and 24 girls last year.
Okay, so then it's 2,200 to 2,500 for coaches, and there's 4 coaches. Is that right? And then there's an umpire, one fixed cost, $1,560? And
2 umpires,
two?
$30 a piece per game.
Okay, so that the $1,560 is total. Yeah. Okay, and then the last part is the uniforms. Is there any estimate how much per kid that costs? Just curious.
The uniform cost that we were going to absorb as a fundraiser?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you're okay, that's fine then. Great.
So roughly you're looking at a total maximum of around $12,000, basically.
Right. So it's a little more than $100 a kid.
And what was it that we, last year, was it $12,000 that were $10,000 that we put into the fields?
Yeah, it was about, when the fields were initially cut out, it was approximately $10,000 to bring in the diamond dust and cut out. But I shouldn't be going on public record with that. I don't know, Mike Chowder.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it was between 10 and 12 that we...
Yeah, I thought it was lower than that.
We had a lot of volunteers. We had some people that poured some slabs for us and volunteered and donated materials as well. So 10,000 might be a little steep. I could certainly get that for you, though.
Would that money be added to the current middle school budget, and we would be reviewing that through the upcoming budgeting process, I'm assuming?
Yeah, our budgets are due for athletics March 1st. Without adoption by the school board, that would be something we'd have to add after the fact, as we would like this to be heard as an action item in the March meeting. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate the presentation. If there's no further questions, and I'm sure the board will be discussing that and other middle school programs upcoming. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the State of the District by our superintendent, Mr. John Blackman.
Well, there's a lot going on. So let me see if I can kind of cover it all. You know, we've continued our discussions at the Admin Council around professional development delivery and how we do that moving forward. We spent a lot of time at our last Admin Council talking about what we've done in the past, what has worked well, what has not worked well, what are some of the things that we brought in that were successful, but then we weren't consistent and didn't follow through with those things. We talked about a lot of those things that are still on the board. So we're moving forward in that effort to really define how we want professional development across the district for all our teachers and our administrators to look like, and what's the best model for that. Having said that, we just got back from the Idaho Leads Conference up in Sun Valley. We had a large group there. Kathy was the board representative there, but a lot of your leadership was there, your building leadership, along with our teachers. A lot of our teachers were there from several different levels in schools. And it was interesting because at that conference, in the superintendent's session, we were talking about the very thing that I kind of brought up with the board, and that is the leadership in the district, inspiring that trust, and removing the fear from how we motivate and move people forward. And what really struck me was, as I was reading through my material, was a section from Daniel Pink. I don't know if anybody's read his work, but it's about the fact that carrot and stick motivation just doesn't work in moving an organization forward. And I was reading something today that's been sitting on my desk for quite a while, and it just struck me today. Actually, Angie brought this to my attention. We were talking about leadership, and it says leadership is communicating to people their worth and potential so clearly that they come to see it in themselves. And that's really our purpose as a leadership team in moving forward. So I'm taking some people, some key folks, to go to the ASCD conference in March to see Daniel Pink. He's the keynote speaker there, as well as a lot of others who will be there as well, and see if we can't get even a tighter understanding of what that looks like and how you move forward in that direction. So there's a lot else going on besides that, but that's kind of the impetus of some of the conversations that we've been having. I need to ask the board a few things regarding policy review. We've been working pretty hard on the policy committee. I have one policy coming forward tonight, but obviously there's a lot more work that needs to be done around policy, and that is one of the biggest things that the board does is preview that policy and set the policy. So what I'd like to ask the board is to give me some direction on how often they would like to see policy brought before you. Whether it's right now, it's annually. It has been in the past annually. However, everything kind of snowballs and it's given to you all in one big packet. It's really tough to get through it all. And I'm just wondering if the board would prefer quarterly policy brought to you quarterly to be passed through and put into policy biannually or annually. Currently, we're annually. So I'd like you to consider that and maybe give me some direction in that so I can set those policy committee meetings accordingly and make sure that we have those things ready for you based on those timelines. That would help me as far as the schedule goes. Also, you're going to hear a lot about budgeting. There's a lot of those meetings coming up. We've been having a lot of conversation around that as well. Our next admin council will be dealing with a lot of that, the resources and the budgeting issues. We're currently in the process of prioritizing and addressing the district's needs and weighing those needs in the light of our organizational resources that we have available, and making sure that we're keeping into account the flexibility of those resources and how we utilize those resources in the most responsible, effective way for the district. So we're going to have a lot of conversation this week, this Thursday, around that. That'll be part of that budgeting process that Mike brings forward to you. So I want to make sure that we're getting buy-in from the whole leadership team on what that looks like as a whole organization. We tend to sometimes operate in silos or apart from each other. This is my building's needs. This is my building's needs. This is my department's needs. And not looking at it organizationally, as a whole organization. And what are the prioritizations of the whole organization so that we can be the most effective in how we allocate resource. And so we'll be looking at a lot of different pieces that impact that. And Mike will be bringing those to you as we do that. Obviously, we can't do everything we want, and we need to be very conscientious and strategic about how we allocate resource making sure that we're as responsible as we can possibly be with the resources that we've already been given. So those are some of the things we're working on. The task force regarding drug and alcohol issues with the school. I have met now with Gene Ramsey from the Sheriff's Department, along with Jeff Gunter. I'm still in the process of that. Our last board meeting was a little close to this one because it was at the end of the month. So, but there are meetings going on in the public. There's one tonight. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that one. Liz sent that to me. So there's a lot of that communication going on. There's an open meeting tonight that was scheduled between 6 and 7:30, and that involves St. Luke's, the Wayne County Drug Coalition, Ben Pettit, Chauncey Pogue, Mira Campbell. Those people are actually talking about some of these issues as we speak. But I'm still working on putting together a district task force to look at what we can do district-wide too. I did look into drug dogs. We got one drug dog available in the valley, and that dog is just about to be retired. So there are some issues. I've also talked to the Sheriff's Department about bringing in DRE recognition experts to help train our administration on drug recognition. So I went through that training when I was a vice principal, but that was a while ago. And so some of our administration have that training, some do not. I think that would be very beneficial for them, so that when we suspect something going on, we know what we're looking for, and we're not falsely accusing anybody, and so that when we get to that point, we know how to do those kind of field sobriety tests and checks for nystagmus in the eyes and so forth. So it's a very comprehensive training. It usually takes about 3 days. And last time the ISP did it, the Iowa State Patrol did it. I think we only have one drug recognition expert in the valley, and so I'm checking into what it would take to get that training for your admin.
Great.
Yes.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate the update. We'll be there. Also, we have a new school name. Or are you going to bring that up? No. Oh, never mind. That's coming. That's coming. So I'll keep you on pins and needles. I don't know what it is.
I know, my curiosity is piqued here.
But I would like to say that leadership piece that I said, we're all leaders in some aspect in this valley. We all have those opportunities of leadership. Whether you're a teacher in the classroom, whether you're an administrator, whether you're at the district level, whether you're a board member, you all have that opportunity to be leaders. So just remember that quote. Leadership is communicating to others their worth and their potential so clearly that they believe it themselves. Thank you.
Appreciate that update, John, and we'll be getting back with you about the policy, how we would like that presented to us. So, and with that, we'll move on to the board chair report. And board, feel free to jump in at any time with the superintendent search update. We'd like to thank everybody for participating, for coming to the focus groups, for coming to the open forums, for taking the survey. It's really beneficial to us as a board to be able to open it up to the public, get your input, and to see not only from our aspect and point of view of what we see a need for as a superintendent, as a leader in our district, but to see the community's wishes and desires. Because let's face it, we're all in this together. We had 20 some odd focus groups and open forums over a 2-day period, and we were debriefed with that just prior to this meeting, and we're going to be discussing that a little bit more after this meeting. So we really appreciate your coming out and supporting. The flyers that Rain Associates are coming up with are going out, and that job is being posted. They're actively recruiting for our district based on the information that we received from the public and from the board. So we really appreciate your input. Further upcoming things in March, we'll be narrowing it down and interviewing the final candidates in April, the week of April 21st, if I'm remembering correctly, off the top of my head. Anything to add?
We'll have more details at the next board meeting about the process.
And I just wanted to say, the comments were just looked over in incredible detail, parsed for themes, for even, discussions about does this word represent, how much and proportionality. So,
your voices were absolutely heard, and yeah, at a high level. And that's going to be the basis for what we're looking for.
We appreciate that. So, okay, on with announcements. We have multiple upcoming meetings. We have it's going to be a busy month, what can I say? Special meeting work session on February 26th, where we will be discussing the IB Primary Years Program and Diploma Years Program debriefing. I'm hearing that we're also going to be discussing a name for the new magnet school. Thanks for the suspense. That's on the 26th. And as of our last board meeting, we actually added a few things as well for the budgeting process. On February 20th, 4 to 5:30 here, we're going to be having our first of our budget meetings discussing staff, new staffing, reallocating of staffing. February 17th, there will be no school. ISBA's annual day on the Hill, where the board can go and visit with our legislature, will be the 24th and 25th of February, and Kathy Baker will be representing us along with John Blackman and Lori Kaufman. And we appreciate their time and effort in that. Our regular March board meeting will be March 11th. March 6th, we will be having another budgeting session for the department's budgets. And on the 5th, we had a slight change. Actually, we extended by a week the appointment process for a new trustee. It has come to our attention that we did not fully explain the Zone 4. The Zone 4 boundaries. And so we are going to renotice that and have that running for 2 full weeks in the papers. And applications or letters of interest are due on the 26th at 3 p.m. 26th of February at 3 p.m. And those will be due to Ms. Kaufman. And then a week later, on the 5th of March, we will be having that appointment process and the interviews for that at 6:30 p.m. here at the district office. So we apologize for the misinformation and encourage those in Zone 4 that are interested with the new zone boundaries that will go out in the Mountain Express, Catch Radio, and the Weekly Sun to look for those and to fill out the letter of interest and get those turned in. So, our plan is, by doing it that way, we can still have the candidate chosen and still have the appointment take place and be sworn in at the March regular meeting on March 11th. I think that concludes that section of the announcements. Got through them all. And then, as we were setting the agenda, Trustee Baker and I were reflecting a little bit on our previous meeting, and we really appreciate Mr. Bailey for coming in and speaking on behalf of the Blaine County Drug Coalition. And Trustee Baker and I were discussing throwing back ideas on how the board could align goals with the superintendent and with the district. And we had a couple ideas, and I'd like to turn the time over to Kathy Baker to kind of discuss that and what she found out with speaking with the Drug Coalition.
Sure. I got to attend my first board meeting as a new board member of that organization. It was fantastic in the work they're doing. I did have the opportunity to speak with Tom Bailey about obtaining drug tests. They offer those to students, and he presented on that last month, that parents can have their kids tested, or kids can choose to opt in and show that they're clean. And so I said, well, is that something that the board could do? Is that something that we could maybe offer to administrators to do? And Tom, do you want to speak on that?
He said absolutely.
Yeah.
We have the test available, and I spoke with Michael David, and he said he and his staff would be happy to come. He and his staff would be happy to come and administer any tests that anybody that would like to take a sample drug test.
We just thought it would be a great way to show that we don't just set the policy, we want to follow it as well, and that it is that important to us. And so we can discuss as a board how we want to execute that. If maybe at the next board meeting, the regular board meeting, we could have him come as a guest, and we could do that. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Okay.
We don't expect our students to do anything that we aren't willing to do ourselves.
Well said.
I'll make the arrangements.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And for board highlights, does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
I think it's all been covered.
Oh, I have a couple things. So one of the best weeks of the year, if you're an elementary student in grades 3 to 5, for Haley happened last week. I know Woodside it's happening this week. Was Ski Week, and I got to participate with my son, and that was exciting and a great week. The other thing that I wanted to share was visit the Haley Elementary School website. KMTV came and did a news report on our science night that we run each year as a kickoff to our science fair. And there's some great photographs as well as the news covering it, and they ran it down in Twin. So don't miss out on that. And also I just wanted to mention, I got to participate in Idaho Leads with several of the administrators and teachers in this room, and it's a great organization, really informative, great professional development that happened there, and I really enjoyed that opportunity. So thank you.
I'd like to speak a little bit about that science night as well. Trustee Baker was kind enough to invite me and my family to come up and participate, and to see the excitement and engagement of our, 3 of the kids really participated. 1 was a little tired and cranky. But no, the kids had a phenomenal time, and they really enjoyed it. And to see 100-plus kids so excited about learning and the application in real life, it was a joy to see. So.
Well, and I want to add on that note, if any of you didn't catch last week's Sun Times newspaper, or Sun News, I don't know the title. Weekly Sun, thank you, Lori. The Weekly Sun, there was a fantastic picture of Trustee Binion and 2 of his children doing one of the science experiments, as well as some other people from our community. We actually had kids from, I believe, every elementary school in our district represented at that evening, because we kind of extended that out and actually partnered with Woodside Elementary this year and invited their kids specifically because they want to start a science fair at their school, and so they wanted to come and check out what we're doing. So don't miss his picture.
What can I say? I'm very photographic.
Oops, John has got his hand up.
John Biddy. A couple other things, just highlights for the district. I just got this email this evening about our AMOs and about it's our annual measurable achievement objectives for our English language learners. And it says, congratulations to Blaine for meeting annual measurable achievement objectives, AMAOs, for your English learners for 2012-13. I would like to thank you, just got this, and your staff for all your hard work in meeting the unique needs of Idaho's English learners. So AMO 1, the annual increase in the number of percentage of EL students making progress in learning English. AMO 2, the annual increase in the number of percentage of EL students attaining English language proficiency by the end of the school year. And AMO 3, whether EL students meet the AYP target in reading and math. Based on the 2012-13 AMO calculations, Blaine County School District met all of the above-mentioned targets.
Wow. Yay!
Away from Molly there, but I just saw that and I thought that was worth mentioning. It was very nice spending some time with Trustee Baker at the training at the Idaho Leads. That was awesome. It was a great thing. Also, we got our graduation results after Jerry's hard work in some of our appeals processes. A lot of times they lose our kids here and there. We got to find out where they went, if they left us, if they graduated, and so forth. So our graduation rate is 95, we start high school, 95.9%, or roughly 96%. So.
Excellent. Thank you very much for those updates. We appreciate that. So with that, we will move on to continuing business. Item A, consideration of recommendation or recommended engineer for Wood River Middle School project, Mr. Mike Chatterton.
Okay, we have several design build projects that we're going to start this summer. And the first one would be to complete the middle school energy recovery ventilation installation in 2 of the wings that weren't done last year. So this one we interviewed 3 firms. We interviewed Musgrove Engineering out of Boise, Ticker Engineering out of Boise, and Brian Formusa Engineering from Haley. And it was the committee's recommendation that we hire Brian Formusa Engineering out of Haley. There's a lot of reasons why. Familiarity with the building. He's local. He's here. He's available to come look at the systems in case of an emergency situation where he has to answer something quickly. So the travel cost would be much less than having somebody come from Boise. So the recommendation was to hire Brian as the engineering firm for the middle school ERB project this summer.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is to improve the air quality on the inside while recovering the heat that we're exhausting out by preheating the incoming fresh air.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and actually, if you talk to the teachers in that wing that the ERBs are up and running from this year, they can definitely tell a difference in the air quality in the existing room in that portion of the building now from what it was last year. So it will have an impact.
Helps our students be in the classroom more.
More attentive.
Excellent. So, all right. Do I hear a proposal to accept staff recommendation and approve Brian Formusa as the recommended engineer for the Wood River Middle School ERV project?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On with the next one, to discuss the consideration of recommended design build team for Woodside Elementary School project.
Okay, this is the addition, the remodel of the center area of Woodside Elementary School to get it ready for the dual immersion transition that's going to happen this fall. And what we're doing is taking the ASD area currently and converting it back into 2 classrooms. And we had 2 proposals. Actually, we had 3 proposals, but we narrowed it down to the 2 teams. The third team was about 30% higher in costs than the other 2. So we interviewed the 2 teams, and the recommendation from the committee was to go with Conrad Brothers Builders proposal of the $185,188 for Woodside.
And this is so that we can have sufficient classroom space for the magnet school as they come in and to utilize the space.
It would be, so each one of the strands and each one of the grade levels will have four classes in each of the grades. So we needed 2 additional classrooms, and that would give us, so we have 4 in each of the 6 grades.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Do I hear a motion to accept the recommendation of the design build team for the Woodside Elementary School as stated?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And C, consideration of recommended design build team for Hemingway Elementary School project.
This project was something that we investigated last year and just didn't feel like that we had enough time to complete the project. And it would be to add a small addition onto, eventually it's going to end up into the cafeteria, but would be a small addition, a music room addition to the west of the building, and then convert the old music room into the existing cafeteria, as well as to replace all of the asphalt and to put dry wells and to regrade the parking lot at Hemingway to eliminate some of the problems that we're having in the parking areas now, and to add lighting in the parking lot. And we had 3 proposals on this one again, and we interviewed 2 proposals, 2 design build teams. The third one we did because it again was about 30%, 35% higher in cost, and so we interviewed Paul Conrad Brothers Builders as well as David Lloyd Construction. David Lloyd Construction was actually the low bid, and Paul Conrad at Conrad's
755.
proposal was $755,186. And David Lloyd was $709,107. There was various reasons why the committee is recommending that we go with Paul Conrad's proposal. The first one being it was the committee's choice. Second one would be that they addressed the possibility of having summer school at Hemingway if we wanted to, and they gave us a schedule that would accommodate that if we chose to do that. The third is Conrad Brothers has extensive experience in site construction work. They are the ones that did Cary site reconfiguration. They brought that project in on budget and in on time. And the fourth and probably the most important reason why we chose Conrad over David Lloyd is we asked each of the design build teams to provide us a schedule of completion when they would have these projects complete. Conrad's completed project schedule was the middle of August, which would give the teachers into the buildings when they normally come into the buildings, and full completion of the project to be a week prior to the start of school. And David Lloyd Construction estimated time of completion was going to be a week after school started. It was actually September 9th, which was a full week after. So the committee didn't feel like that they wanted to put the school in a situation to where they were going into this project knowing that it could be delayed by a week, as well as Conrad Brothers felt that their numbers were actually high. They wanted to make sure that they had enough money in the budget that they were proposing, that they weren't going to be short. And the statute that we're building under this, on the design build statutes, gives us the ability to go back in and negotiate the actual contract price with Conrad before the construction starts. And so that's what we will be doing, is we'll take their numbers and go through the numbers and look at the numbers where they felt like the budgets were actually high and where they could be eliminated back down closer to the other proposal. And that will be the budget that we'll bring back to the board in the future.
So basically tonight, instead of approval of the project, we're just approving Conrad as the design build team, and then we'll come back with a negotiated price.
Yes.
Mike, did we have a budget for this? I can't remember when we had talked about this before. If we, had budgeted out the cafeteria renovations and budgeted out the parking lot
Yes, we did.
improvements.
I
I
mean,
just can't remember what those numbers were, and are these close to those numbers, or kind of where are we?
It's actually fairly close. I mean, when you look at the project that we completed last year at Hemingway, there was about $500,000 in the budget that didn't get spent.
Yes.
We did it for much cheaper than
Yes.
it was. And we were going to take those excess funds, as well as funds that we had set aside for all of the lighting improvements that we did in the building that the state of Idaho paid for under their ARA funds grant from the federal government. So that was about $230,000. So the combination of those two budget leftovers will pay for the project here.
Okay.
This will allow it so we don't have to have 4 lunch periods at Hemingway.
No, we're just trying to get away from that.
Under military control.
Yes. So it's definitely a project that needs to happen for the safety, security, and functionality of the school. So.
Just a quick question regarding the fact that we're not picking the lowest bidder, and you've indicated that we have to notify them and go through that process. What is the timeline that you're working under to be able to, that you're going to need approval from the board by to be able to complete this project with getting permits and moving forward?
I anticipate coming back to the board at the March board meeting for a full budget
Okay.
approval and contract.
Okay.
It'll happen fairly quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And in the meeting, we talked a lot about natural light and ways to get natural light in there. And then also the possibility of taking what's going to be happening with the kitchen, which is jackhammering the floor and making sure that if that kitchen needed to be integrated into the new design at all in a cost-effective way, that would happen during the planning phase.
Yes, and one thing I'll let you guys know this one, and you probably have heard this already, but over this winter time, it just happened about maybe 7 weeks ago when we found out there's a sewer line underneath the gymnasium floor that has shifted a little bit, and it's actually rising up to where we're not getting proper drainage. So right now we're having to have that sewer line snaked out about every 3 days.
Oh, wow.
To make sure that it doesn't back up. So the decision is do we want to go in and tear up the gymnasium floor right now, jackhammer the floor out and take care of the problem, or do we want to address it in this remodel project, reroute the line out the cafeteria and through the new parking lot that we're putting in and tap into the city's sewer. So that will be getting taken care of as well.
Appreciate that update.
We're doing some things at Hemingway Elementary that will alleviate that problem from the sewer backing up. Like we're going to disposable plates for the interim for the rest of the year, so we don't have all of that dishwasher water going down through the sewer lines, which will alleviate the problem a lot.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the Conrad team for the recommended design build team for the Hemingway Elementary School project?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. And with that, we're on to new business, and we'll turn the time over to Superintendent Blackman for the policies for review.
Actually, the only policy that you have in front of you for review is the FMLA policy.
And you won't be able to read it probably. Got all the attractions.
This policy is fairly straightforward, and it's basically been revamped by the attorneys, Everhart and Mackey, who always send us the updates and policy and so forth. But this is really federally mandated. There's really nothing we can change. I mean, the fact is, this is required of us by law, and so it's pretty straightforward.
John,
I want to make sure that it's in policy, so it covers all of our staff.
I noticed that there's 2 policy numbers on this, and that's due to the fact that it's for classified and certified staff. Discussion or questions from the board?
I don't have any questions.
Although it really does,
I don't.
it's really the same law for items. It does have hourly requirements placed on it, and those are, again, all federally mandated. So whether you qualify or don't qualify for FMLA leave, which Family Medical Leave Act, it's all based on that criteria, either direction.
Excellent.
So all of the changes that you guys, so this was revised in '09, and now the changes that you guys have made, are they just changes that have come down from the state then, or the?
Well, it's just more thorough. We have more of an overview with the link back. This is going to give a little bit more information to our employees as to what the act is.
Okay.
I think in '09, if you asked most people what FMLA was, they probably couldn't tell you. So we want to make sure that people are well informed and educated on what FMLA is. As an HR director, I want to make sure that people understand their rights and understand what's available to them through the HR department. And so this is a little bit more lengthy, but it's definitely more comprehensive as to what the law states. So I just want to make sure that people understand when they look it up in policy that they're getting a really good overview of what is included in the law, as opposed to having to go to the federal mandate and read through all however many pages it is. But at the same time, our old policy was fairly brief in its coverage of what FMLA does, doesn't do, what it includes, what it doesn't include, who qualifies, who does.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, John. And I'd like to say thank you to Trustee Baker and Trustee Schwartle for serving on the policy committee, and as that's one of our primary roles and responsibilities as board members is district policy.
Great.
So. And with that, we will go on to item B, Wood River Middle School before and after school enrichment and sports programs. And I think that this evening's previous presentation from the middle school baseball and softball program kind of facilitated this for the board. We could see the writing on the wall as being being included as a sport. And this is something that we as a board need to get a grasp on and a handle on, is what is offered both before, during, after school at the middle school. What extracurricular opportunities are there? Do we want to look at moving baseball, softball into that? And what does it look like? And I know Mr. Blackman has a lot on his plate, but we're considering tasking Mr. Blackman, who would then task Mr. Peters to come up with this information for us. Is there any comment from the board?
Yeah. No, I think what you said is well said. I think it was just a matter of us being able to discuss it, and if we're all on the same page with, if we feel that's something important that we should ask Superintendent Blackman to investigate and give us a report on at a future meeting.
So would the report be on what we're currently doing and what other ideas for after-school sports and enrichment programs?
Would
Is
the
that?
board like some recommendations? I mean, if you want recommendations, we can give you recommendations. If you don't, we can tell you what we currently have.
When I originally started to do some work on this, and it's a lot more complicated than it looks because you have to do it weekly. Because if you do it, you can't just say, okay, we have baseball, because that's only for these, few weeks or months or whatever. So what I'm looking for is a pretty comprehensive, almost like I visualize it like a bar chart. Okay, what percentage of the kids are being covered by sports, whether they're Wood River, whether they're club, whether they're other, and then how many are not being covered, because there's a lot of options. There's a lot of kids who aren't sports kids who might want to do enrichment kind of things that are very low cost. But I've heard this kind of drumbeat, and so yeah. But I'm sorry, it's a lot more complicated than I thought. But yeah, I know you started down that road, so I appreciate it.
I think another element that would be useful is how is the messaging getting out there to the kids that these opportunities exist. So as you're compiling this information, if you could determine how does that word get spread? Are they just invited, certain kids? Is it open? Is it, listed on a website somewhere? How is that information out there? And I think that would be really helpful.
I know Mike has a lot of, he's been involved with a lot of these
Right.
conversations in the past. I don't know if you have anything you have to add, Mike?
Yeah, actually, we met with Mr. Keating, Jim Keating from the Blaine County Rec District over Christmas break, and we've been putting this together, the after-school sports programs, not only sponsored by Wood River Middle School, but also sponsored through Blaine County Rec and like this Wood River Select Basketball Program and the 5-3 Volleyball Program and all of those other peripheral sports activities outside that, soccer and those. And I have put together a chart throughout the course of the year on after-school athletic events that happen at the middle school. So I have that. I just don't have the after-school enrichment type academic programs.
Okay.
So maybe we can start with that as a guideline and just layer on everything else.
Great.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we look forward to that. Is that something that can be ready if baseball, softball is going to be coming back in March? Is that something that can be done before that to be presented at the March meeting, or do you need more time?
I think that'd be more than enough time. That's why we can sit down
Okay.
and get down to we can look at our past calendars and show you, our long-term data as well.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, with that brings us to almost to a close. We'll open it up to public comment regarding tonight's agenda, if there is any. With that, Do I hear a motion to adjourn tonight's regular February meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Need a wit